Namaskar bachcho, welcome back again to the virtual class. In the last episode we have been discussing about the structure of atom. In today's class we will be learning how different models were proposed for giving structure to an atom. Before learning this, the basic things what you have learnt in the previous chapter, that must be understood. Without the knowledge of basic things you cannot go further, and all these informations collectively will help you when you go to higher classes. So have a grip on all these concepts. With that understanding we will move further. In the previous chapter we have learned what are the various postulates of Dalton's atomic theory. In the previous episodes we have seen that according to Dalton's atomic theory, atoms cannot be further divided. Atom is the smallest one. But from the previous session we have learned that atoms contain three important subatomic particles, that is electrons, neutrons and protons are there inside the atom. So atoms can be further divided. So the postulate of Dalton's atomic theory was a failure one, because atoms can be further divided. With these subatomic particles, how can we give a structure to an atom? Various scientists proposed model for giving a structure to an atom. In that, the first scientist who came forward to propose a model for the structure of atom was J.J. Thomson. By knowing the subatomic particles, and he proposed a model in which he tried to give a structure for an atom. How J.J. Thomson proposed his model, about that we will see. When J.J. Thomson proposed his model of the atom in the year 1903, then only electrons and protons were known to be present in the atom. According to Thomson's model of the atom, you can see on the picture, an atom is a positively charged sphere with negatively charged electrons embedded in it. As you can see on the picture, the structure of atom what J.J. Thomson proposed appears to be spherical in shape. The entire sphere he considered as positively charged, in which the electrons are embedded in it. You can see here electrons are embedded in it. So this is what the proposal of J.J. Thomson. According to him, the atom was spherical in shape and the sphere is positively charged and electrons are embedded in it. Secondly, he proposed that the positive and the negative charges in the atom are equal in magnitude. That means the total number of electrons that are present in an atom must be equal to the number of positive charges, so called protons, are equal in number in case of an atom. So the total number of protons, positive charges, and total number of negative charges in an atom will become equal in magnitude, equal in number. So as a whole we can see that the atom is neutral. Any atom would become neutral in state only when the total number of positive charges and the total number of negative charges are equal. So according to J.J. Thomson, the total number of electrons and the total number of protons in an atom are equal in number. Suppose if an atom has 5 positive charges, then it must have 5 negative charges too. So in an atom, the total number of positive charges are counterbalanced by presence of or existence of equal number of negative charges. So we can see an atom as a whole neutral. This model is also known as plum-pudding model. Thomson's model of the atom is very much similar to that of Christmas pudding. So this model is also known as plum-pudding model. How to understand this, about that we will see. According to Thomson, what he proposed, the proposed model for an atom is very much similar to the plum pudding Christmas cake, where the dry fruits are embedded in it, as you can see here. So the entire cake or the pudding he considered to be an atom with positive charge. So the entire sphere is like a positive charge, and the dry fruits which are embedded within the cake or the pudding is known as the electrons. He considered these dry fruits as electrons and the whole Christmas pudding as a positive charge. Here in this picture you can see the entire shape is in the form of a sphere in which the negative charge, here negative charge indicates the dry fruits. So, these are the dry fruits. He compared the model of an atom with the Christmas pudding. We can also compare this plum pudding model with the example of watermelon. So, in the picture you can see a watermelon which is in the shape of a spherical, right. How he compared his model with watermelon is the reddish fleshy part, edible part he considered to be the positive charge, and the seeds which are embedded within the fruit are the electrons. So, the entire fruit is in the shape of spherical, and the entire sphere he considered as a positive charge. That means the edible part, the fleshy part he considered to be the positive charge, and the electrons are arranged within the fruit in a pattern. So, all these seeds he considered as electron. So, whenever we think of a Thomson model, then it is a positively charged sphere and the electrons are embedded in it. And one more thing is the total number of positive charges and the total number of negative charges in an atom are equal in magnitude, thereby making the entire atom neutral. So, this is how Thomson could propose his model for the atom. Dear students, J.J. Thomson was the first scientist who proposed a model for the structure of atom. Though he could propose a model for the structure of atom, but the proposed model had some drawbacks. The main drawback of Thomson model was he could explain that the entire atom is considered to be a positively charged sphere in which the electrons are embedded. The model proposed by Thomson could very well explain about the electrical neutrality of an atom, as the total number of positive charges and the negative charges are equal in magnitude. So, as a whole we can see an atom neutral. But his proposed model could not explain the results of various experiments carried out by other scientists such as Rutherford, and mainly the proposed model could not explain well anything about the stability of atom. So, stability was considered to be the major drawback of Thomson's model of the atom. So, finally, the Thomson model could not be accepted worldwide. This way, Thomson's model for the structure of atom could not be accepted. Hope you understood how J.J. Thomson proposed his model for giving structure to an atom. According to J.J. Thomson, he proposed that an atom is a positively charged sphere in which electrons are embedded in it. And he also proposed that the total number of protons and the total number of electrons are equal in magnitude. So, as a whole, if we see an atom, it is electrically neutral. Though he gave much explanation about the electrical neutrality, but he could not give valid explanation about its stability. Later, it was found that one of his students, Rutherford, found that the stability is not explained by this J.J. Thomson's model, and also various experiments which are carried out later by Rutherford could not be explained by the model proposed by J.J. Thomson. So, this was one of the drawback of J.J. Thomson model. So, the proposed model by J.J. Thomson could not be validated due to its drawback. So, on further studies, one of his student Rutherford conducted some experiments. From that experiment, he could give a model for giving structure to an atom. Rutherford conducted his experiment by taking gold foil with alpha particles. Here alpha particles are the helium ions with 2 unit positive charges. These particles are fast moving particles and they can penetrate into the matter. When he allowed these alpha particles to pass through the thin gold foil, In his experiment, he could find various observations, and with that observations he could easily propose a model and he could easily give a structure to an atom. How his experiment was conducted, about that we will see. So after the discovery of protons, electrons and neutrons, it became very clear that an atom consists of these three particles, these subatomic particles. So by using these subatomic particles, how an atom is being structured or how these particles are arranged in an atom. By arranging these particles in an atom, Rutherford proposed a model for the structure of an atom. Now we see how he conducted the experiment, and from the experiment how he gave the structure to an atom. Here it is the alpha particle emitter. From here the alpha particles are emitted. Alpha particles are the helium ions. So helium ions are the alpha particles which move at a high speed. From alpha particle emitter, the helium ions, so called alpha particles, are emitted from here, and you see the structure over here. A thin slit is made. In between this, a gold foil is taken. The thickness of the gold foil is very thin. The alpha particles are so fast that it can penetrate into the matter. A thin gold foil is kept here. When the alpha particles are emitted from the alpha particle emitter, then the alpha particles strike on the surface of gold sheet. Alpha particles are fast moving particles and they can pass through the matter. Alpha particles can penetrate into the gold sheet. When the alpha particles are passed through the thin gold foil, then after passing through the thin gold foil, it strikes over the surface of the detecting screen, as you can see. Since when the alpha particle strikes over the surface, then it penetrates into the gold foil and scatters. By observing the scattering process or the direction of scattering of alpha particles, he could give structure of atoms that are present in the gold foil. Now we will see what were the observations he found from the alpha particle scattering experiment. The first observation what Rutherford found was most of the particles pass straight through the gold foil without any deflection from their original path. That means from here, if you see, the alpha particles are emitted from the emitter, and without showing any deviation, most of the particles passed through the gold foil. So the first observation what he got was alpha particles passed straight through the gold foil, straight through the gold foil. So this was his first observation. Secondly, what he observed was a few alpha particles are deflected through small angles and few are deflected through large angles. When the alpha particles are emitted from the emitter, he found that a few of the alpha particles are deflected from its original path. A few of the alpha particles are deflected by small angles. We know that the alpha particles are positively charged, and inside the atom also positive charges exist. So he observed that the alpha particles show some sort of deflection. Second was some of the particles were deflected, so he could see deflection. So deflection was the second observation what Rutherford could see. Thirdly, in the experiment he found that a very few alpha particles completely rebound on hitting the gold foil and turn back on their path. Only few of the alpha particles completely rebound on hitting the atom. We can say that 180 degree. So third one is rebound back, so by an angle of 180 degree, the deflection. These were the three observations what Rutherford could see in his alpha particle scattering experiment. The first one was alpha particles passed straight through. Most of the alpha particles went straight through the gold foil. Some of the alpha particles deflected from its original path by a small angle and very few of them in a large angle. Third, what he could observe was only very few of the alpha particles rebound on hitting on an atom. So from this observation, how he proposed the model, about that we will see. So dear students, I hope you understood how Rutherford conducted his experiment and how the particles, alpha particles, are allowed to pass through the thin gold foil. So when he allowed to pass through these particles through gold foil, he got 3 observations. From these observations, how he could give a structure to an atom, about that we will see. Firstly, we will discuss about the first point. At first, what happened? When he allowed to pass these alpha particles through a thin gold foil, he found that most of the alpha particles went straight without showing any deviation. So from this, he concluded that within an atom, most of the spaces are empty. So being empty, the particles show without deviation and most of the particles passed through the atom. So from the first observation, he could say that the spaces available in the atom are abundant. So only the alpha particles could pass, most of the alpha particles could pass through the gold foil. Now we see the second observation. Now look at the screen. Here you can find that few of the alpha particles are passed through the gold foil but with some deviation. Few of the alpha particles are deviated or deflected with less angles and some of the alpha particles deflected with more angle or greater angle, we can say. Here one more thing to note is that alpha particles are positively charged species and within the atom we know that protons are exist and also like charges repel with each other. So from he could say that all the positive charges within an atom are resided in a particular place. So only some of the particles, only few of the particles deflected. When the alpha particles go a little distance, then it shows deviation but to a lesser extent. Whenever the alpha particles go closer to the positive charges, then it deviates to a maximum extent, maximum degree. So from this it is clear that all the positive charges are resided in a particular place and this place Rutherford named it as nucleus. From Rutherford's experiment, he concluded that all the positive charges are present in one particular place, whereas in J.J. Thomson's model we have seen that an atom is a positively charged sphere. Here he did not say anything about that. If the entire atom is positively charged, then the alpha particles would have deflected at various places, but it did not happen so. Here the deflection is caused by only few of the alpha particles which are allowed to pass through the thin gold foil, which means all the positive charges in an atom are in a particular place, or all the positive charges are concentrated in a particular place, and he named it as a nucleus. And almost all the masses of an atom are resided within this nucleus. So from the second observation he could say that positive charges are within the center of an atom and all the masses are in the nucleus. Now we see the third observation. Look at the screen. Here you will find that 1 out of 10,000 alpha particles, one particle rebound back from its path by making an angle of 180 degree. Now you can see on the screen the alpha particles are striking on the atom and it rebounds back to its original path, which shows that almost all the positive charges are resided or concentrated in a particular place. That is why this could happen. This is how Rutherford conducted his experiment. Based on his observation, he could propose a model for the structure of an atom. On the basis of alpha particle experiment, Rutherford put forward his model for giving structure to an atom. According to him, an atom contained a positively charged sphere called nucleus and almost all the mass resides within this nucleus. According to him, the electrons are revolving around the nucleus and the positive charges, so-called protons, are resided within the nucleus. So here the electrostatic force of attraction between the positively charged species within the atom and the electrons make the atoms together to hold. According to his model, the total number of electrons and the total number of protons present in an atom are equal in magnitude. Therefore, we can see the atom as a whole neutral. So, he could explain about the electrical neutrality also. So, this is how Rutherford proposed his model for structure of an atom. Although he successfully found out or proposed the model for giving structure to an atom, still it has some drawback. What is that drawback? About that we will see. Now we discuss about the main drawback of Rutherford's model of an atom. One of the major drawback of Rutherford's model of an atom was it does not explain about the stability of an atom. He said that the electrons are revolving around the nucleus, and he explained about its stability in terms of the electrostatic force of attraction between the electrons and the proton holds the atom together. But according to electromagnetic theory of physics, if you see, when a charged particles are in motion, then it radiates energy. That means the electrons are charged particles. When these charged particles are revolving around the nucleus, then it must radiate energy. So, if the electrons are continuously moving around the nucleus, then it must radiate energy. Finally, all the energy will be radiated out. Thereby, the electrons will not have energy. Then what will happen? The electrons will finally fall into the nucleus. So, when the electrons fall into the nucleus, then the atom will not be stable. So, the stability will get affected. But this was not explained by the model proposed by Rutherford. So, this was one of the major drawback of Rutherford's model of an atom. So, dear children, hope you understood what is the J.J. Thomson's model of an atom and Rutherford's experiment, alpha particle experiment. So, these are the two important models proposed at the initial time. By overcoming all the drawbacks of J.J. Thomson's model of an atom and Rutherford's model of an atom, Niels Bohr came forward and he proposed his model to give structure to an atom. Still today we are following the model of an atom which was proposed by Niels Bohr. So about that we will see in the next episode. Hope you understood what has been taught today. So go through your textbook also. With this I would like to conclude today's session. In the next session we will be seeing another model where we will learn most important things. So based on today's learning experience, I would like to give easy home assignments. Just look at the screen and note it down. Hope you can do all these home assignments very easily. See you all in the next episode. Till then, take good care of yourself. Bye.